Welcome back, friends. We will do a installation of OpenSuse 15.4 RC, that is the release candidate, and check out what new OpenSuse has to offer for the users. So let us start. I have already downloaded the OpenSuse 15.4 RC ISO. Let us start. Increase the RAM size to 4 GB and VDD to 25 GB. Now OpenSuse's installer is unique. It is nothing like any other Linux distro. So using the F1 command, you can select the help. You can go through the help for the installation. Selecting F2 will bring the language selection. So these are the languages that are available for the installation. Quite a few. Then there is a keyboard layout option. So these are the keyboard layouts available in OpenSuse. Let us go to the F3. So here you can toggle the installer size, text console size, video BIOS size, text mode. You can go in the text mode. From the GUI mode, you can check out the color mode. So let us say you want white on black. So it is not working right now because maybe it is a virtual machine, but should work. Now let us check out the installer size. So I will go for the full HD. Yes, so the screen has widened a little bit. Now let us check out the sources. So you can select the source of the installation from DVD, HD, SLP, FTP, HTTP, HTTPS, NFS, that is the network file system. SMB is from your Samba share, from the network config, and the HTTP proxy. So we will keep the default only. Now Control F5. So the kernel settings, safe settings, no ACPI, no local epic. So I will keep it at default only. Now we select with the F6 version. So you want the drivers, yes, no, file or URL. So you can add the drivers using the file input, or you can download the drivers from certain URL. Now I will go to function F8. So it becomes I think Chinese or Japanese. I don't know Japanese or Chinese, so I cannot read the characters. So we go and again click on F8 and make it English. Okay, then let us now do the go ahead with the installation. We already selected the installation option. Let us check out what is more. Okay, so this same DVD can be used as a rescue system. We can use it to boot Linux system. We can check the installation media. We can do a memory state test from here. We can do upgrade of the already installed system. So suppose if you have got OpenSuse 15.3 installed on your system, you can use this DVD to upgrade it to 15.4. So we'll right now do the installation only. Since the OpenSuse is unique, it is very old operating system, and it has developed its own ways and means to do the delivery of the software to the user. So the installer used by OpenSUSE is not like any other installer used by the other Linux distros. And yes, I admit that it takes a long time to install using the OpenSUSE installer, but it has got its own advantages that we will go and check out what are the advantages. Though it is slow, but there are many advantages to use the installer like it is given provided in the OpenSUSE distro. So you see here you can be part of the preparation of the distro. So first the network auto setup goes on. Network is auto detected because it is I am using a virtual machine and it has auto connected with my Wi-Fi. Now there is a language, keyboard and license agreement. So we can installer also has updated meanwhile. When we were connected with the Wi-Fi, immediately the installer checked for its own update. So right now there is no update. The repositories were initialized, and now this is the welcome screen to start the installation. So we can change the layouts here. I will keep English US only because Indian keyboard is not available. Language and keyboard is not available. Layout. We go and hit the next button. So now network activation is already been done during the network auto setup. So it will skip the network activation. Now it will go to the system analysis. It will check for the hardware info, and now it will ask whether to activate the online repository. If you select yes to activate the online repositories, so during the installation the latest packages as compared to the packages included in this ISO image will be downloaded and installed instead of the packages from the ISO. So the latest packages will be downloaded from the repos, online repos. It will be downloaded and installed. So after the installation is complete, the system need not need any new updates. All the required updates have been installed. So the updates released after the date of this ISO release, say it was released 10 days back. So from the day ISO was released 10 days back to today's date, whatever the updates are there, it will be downloaded if you select the activate online repositories now. If you don't select it, the downloads won't be updates won't be selected and downloaded and installed during the installation. But after the installation is complete, the system will prompt the user for the updates to be installed. So we will not activate the online repositories now. This is just a review. Let us check the OpenSUSE 15.4 RC only. Now here this OpenSUSE ISO, normally it is very big, more than 3.2 up to even it can go up to 4.4 GB also. So it includes typical at least KDE, Plasma, Gnome, XFC, generic desktop, a server and a transactional server. At least these 4 desktops are available. So you have to choose between one of them. And some other desktops are also available, but you cannot directly select during the installation. You have to install them after you complete the installation using any one of the desktops given here. So I will choose to go with Gnome this time. So in last few videos we have done a lot of videos on KDE desktop. So this time I think we should go with the Gnome desktop. Now click on the next button. So here system is giving me a summary of the changes that will be done to the partitioning. So it is a new partitioning, partition table will be written. It will create a 8 MB of BIOS boot partition. It will create a partition dev VDA 2 21.36 GB for root partition along with Btrfs as a file system. Create partition VDA 3 2 GB for the swap and 10 sub volumes. So you can check the sub volumes. So there is a main sub volume That is the root subvolume, main subvolume, and in the root subvolume there will be further subvolumes like var user slash local slash temp slash srv slash root slash opt slash home slash boot dot grub blue slash boot slash grub slash boot slash grub 2. So, or you can go with the expert partitioner. You can start with the existing partition, that if already the hard disk is partitioned, then you can use the existing partitions also, or you can start with the current proposal given here, or if as an option you can go with the logical volume management LVM and enable the disk encryption by creating a password for the disk encryption and decryption. So we will not go with the LVM right now. We will go back. Okay, the system is not going back. Okay, we cancel it. Yes, now it has gone back. What we do is we go with the expert partitioner and start with the existing partition. Let us check out. Okay. Now here the HDD is fresh, there are no partitions, so we edit and let us check. Yes, so it is giving me option whether to role of the fresh hard disk. What will be the role? It will host our operating system, it will host data or ISV applications, it will host swap, it will host EFI boot partition, or it will be a raw volume or unformatted volume. So let us go back. Let us create a partition, custom size. Let us go with 0.3 GB. Okay. Let it be EFI boot partition. Next. So let it be fat, so it can be recognized by Windows. Later on, if you want to install Windows, then it can read the fat partition. Mount point, it is automatically selected as boot / EFI. So if you want to toggle with the apps tab options, you can do it from here. I will not do it, is not needed right now. Partition ID is a Windows data partition because we have selected the fat file system. Let us go next. So now let us add a new partition. We add 2 GB, or we can take 4 GB. Select next. Select it as a swap partition. Select next. So mount point will be swap, file system will be swap, partition ID will be Linux swap. Select next. It is done, and they have been flagged for the format also automatically. You can see the format flag is there, F. Now add partition, maximum size 19.07 GB. Select next. Select it as a operating system, or even you can select data and ISV application, it will be okay. Now go next. File system, automatically select Btrfs, and remember, always by default it is enabling the snapshot also. If you don't want the snapshots, then you can unselect it, then the snapshots won't be enabled, and the snapshot backups will not be done. So you have to use other backup tools such as time shift or back in time to do the updates, sorry, not updates, backups. But if you want to do a system backups using the system itself, then you have to enable the snapshots here. So system will take a backup of itself, and the snapshots will be stored on the one of the sub volumes in the root partition itself. So we will enable the snapshots. The mount point has already been selected by default. The abstract options, we will not go through them, and the partition ID is Linux. Then now we, and all format device has already been selected by default. Now we click on the next button. So after creating the root partition, automatically boot /grub2 i386 PC has been done. Boot grub2 x86 underscore 64 EFI has been done. So this is a 32-bit and 64-bit, both grub2 has been created. Then home home partition, home opt root srv temp user local and var has been done itself on the root partition. So there are no separate folders for this system folders. They are included on the root file system only. Now you have to accept the changes. Okay. Okay, I think everything is okay. Yes. Swap boot fs. Yes. Now we can accept. A partition of type BIOS boot partition is needed to install the bootloader. Such a setup is not supported and may cause problems with the bootloader now and in the future. Do you want to continue? I can say yes. Now we go to the next. What has happened is I had selected the system had selected the BIOS boot partition by default, but when we did the partitioning, we had chosen the EFI partition. That's why it was showing the warning. But anyway, it will not trouble us right now. We can go with the installation and review as it is. But do take care when you do installation on the bare metal. That is your system or laptop or desktop, whatever it is. So now we select on the next button. So first it will synchronize with the NTP time server, and then it will sync the time chip on your motherboard. Now let us select the Asia and my location. So this is my local. Now let us select on the next button. Now the user creation menu has popped up. Now you can see the system first did an auto setup, then it did an installer update, check for the installer update, there was no update. Then it did a repositories initialization, then there was a welcome screen, then we again network activation was done, then system analysis, that is the it checked up the system hardware info, then the online repositories were activated, then the add-on products were added, then the disk partitioning was done, then the time zone was updated, then the user settings were will be done right now. So I have selected the simple username and a simple user password. Now I will unclick the automatic login. It is dangerous. Now I will select the next button. So system is telling me the password is too simple for the user, but do you want to really use the password? I will select yes. Now the installer is giving me a summary. So the bootloader type is grub2, write bootloader code to the HDD, boot code is, do not write it to MBR of dev VDA, write into partition with boot /boot dev, do not write. So the options are there, you can toggle the option. Product is OpenSuse lib 15.4. Patterns, so each of the desktop is a pattern. So when you select say Gnome Desktop environment basic, then it will select the pattern of the software that are to be installed in the Gnome Desktop environment. So help and support documentation has been selected. Gnome Desktop environment for the Wayland and the X11 display server has been selected. So all the dependencies of the Wayland and X11 will be selected automatically along with the Gnome packages for this to fulfill these two options. Then the minimal base system, that is the minimal base system of OpenSuse has been selected. and an enhanced base system of OpenSUSE is selected. App Armor has been selected. By default, YAST basic base utilities, YAST desktop utilities, YAST user interfaces, software management, multimedia. Then the Office software has been selected. Fonts have been selected. X window system, that is the X display server, has been selected. Graphics, minimal appliance base. So there will be some system applications that those have been selected. The total size of packages is around 4.8 GB to install. Default system D target is graphical mode, not a headless mode. System and hardware settings. Now security CPU mitigations, yes. So these are the security patches that are applied to the CPU. So they work in on the level of microcode. So the microcode security patches have been applied by auto by default. Firewall will be enabled by default. SSH service will be disabled. You can enable it right here. SSH port can be blocked. So it is open right now. Major Linux security module is App Armor. Policy kit default privileges is by default. You cannot change. You can change it later. Network configuration interface is configured with DHCP. Ethernet 0 is the interface. Hostname DNS set up by DHCP. Routing IP forwarding for IPv4 and 6 is off. We are using the network manager by default, but we can switch to wicked, and or we can even disable the services. Okay, so if you don't want your system to be connected to the network, you can disable the services. So this is we can say one kind of security. So if you don't if you got some very important things on your laptop and you are feeling unsecure, you can disable the network, so the system won't be able to access the network or the internet, but in turn your system will become very secure. So that's that is the total installation settings summary. Now we have to click on the install and just wait for the system installation to complete. It will be a long because OpenSUSE installer does take a lot of time, maybe even half an hour in some cases. So let us click on the install and wait back. So it is asking for confirmation of installation. I will just confirm. Now you can change the CSS settings from here. So if I select the installation.qss, look, now it is looking very beautiful. Earlier it was in contrast. Now I have changed it to the installation.qss. That is the style sheet. So it has changed the look. Now it looks very nice. So now it is completely automated. You have to do nothing. You can just go prepare a cup of coffee, or you can just you can watch your TV while it is getting installed, or you can even take a small power nap, like 2 minutes, 5 minutes nap you can take. The system will continue to install itself. So friends, the installation is complete. Now the system will reboot once we press the OK button. See you in the next video. In the next video, we will do the detailed review of OpenSuse 15.4 RC release with the Gnome Desktop. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. Do subscribe to our channel. Do like and share our videos. And do not forget to press the bell button to not miss the new videos that are posted every day. Bye bye.